this is for the one who ain't never had a love, yeah. This one's for the girl who don't feel like she's enough, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This one's for the cool kid playing on the school team, crying to himself cause he never had the prom queen. Head full of wants, but they said it's just a pipe dream, yeah. This one's for the kids like me, they ain't never had one thing. The ladies always turn their cheek, but they ain't let the fat ones sing. This one's for the kids like me, kept working when they had nothing. When people try to take their dreams, they stuck it to them, please don't change. For the nerds and the misfits, bullied by the rich kids, feel like they're alone even though they never did shit. Binging anime to find somebody they could fit with. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This one's for the people who ain't ever give a fuck, for the people who are down and they just feel like giving up. And this is for the people fighting thoughts that they're stuck. Yeah. This one's for the kids like me, they ain't never had one thing. The ladies always turn their cheek, but they ain't let the fat ones sing. This one's for the kids like me, kept working when they had nothing. When people try to take their dreams, they stuck it to them, please don't change. When we get knocked down, we get back up. No, 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 we're not gonna take it. When we get knocked down, we get back up. No, 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 we're not gonna take it. Get knocked down, you get back up. Nah, 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 we're not gonna take it. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? 2 days in a row, I'm feeling good. Look at me. How's everybody doing out there? Alex Quest, the show. That is me. I am him. It is December 20th, 2024, Friday, leading into the weekend. Christmas is 5 days away. We're having a good time here. Hope everyone's doing well. Gonna do the prerequisites here. Wherever you are watching, whether it be on X, Facebook, YouTube, Kick, and now we have added the evil empire, TikTok. I don't know. I'm gonna wait to see how long it is till I get banned on there. I think I'm live on there. Let me check and see if I'm live on the TikToks because it gave me the option. So I was like, fuck it, let's do it. Let's go live. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm live there. Apparently I am. I don't know. We'll see. If anyone wants to check on TikTok, it's at the Alex Quest over there. And you could tell me if I'm live. I have no clue if I'm live over there. But if I am, cool. I'll be happy about that. It'll be cool to have an extra spot there. But we are here. If you want to find us, just go search for the Alex Quest the show. You know, Nate, because I never know if YouTube is actually streaming, I always throw it on my phone now and look at the comments to make sure that I see your fellas coming up here first. That's how I know that you're here. So Nate G coming in with the fellas saying hello. Wherever you're watching from, please, please, please do your due diligence. Smash that like button, subscribe. If you are watching on YouTube, if you're on X, give us a follow and a repost over there. Facebook, share this and follow us. Kick, give us a follow. And on TikTok, I don't know what you're doing there. I guess you follow. I don't know shit about TikTok. It just said I can go live there, so I'm going live there. I don't know. We'll be banned soon for the things that I talk about because they do not like conservatives over there. But we're here, like I said. Quick preamble, as I always do. Epstein client list. We're inching closer, I hope, to getting it with Kash Patel getting in. And we shall see what goes on there. If he does not release the Epstein client list, the Diddy list in full, I'll keep championing it and trumpeting it here because I will not let that get memory hold. Speaking of things we can't memory hold, do not memory hold the brothers, sisters that are still struggling over in North Carolina from Helene and Milton and all the victims around, the Southeast. It's getting cold. It's Christmas time. We're about to enter the heart of winter once January, February hits. Consider sending jackets. Consider sending gloves, boots, whatever you can do. Please go do that. I know it's hard. I know money is tight during Christmas anyway, but please do what you can for the people of those hurt areas. Look for some churches, the organizations there. They're usually the best ones. I like mercury1.org. They basically are the people that funnel things around. So if you bring things or give things to mercury1.org, they will make sure it gets to the right people as well. So definitely go and do that. They are still there. I know they're there. I know they're still in Hawaii helping out the victims over there. So there's places you can go. Speaking of that, not going to let the FEMA shit get memory hold with them passing up on Trump supporters. I'm going to keep on talking about that every day because that is something that we can't let the government forget. We can't let them, they need to make sure they're investigating this. And if it's true, shut FEMA the fuck down. If they're not going to do their jobs and get them out of here. But I digress. And, another quick hit, Moms for Liberty. Always support them. They're doing good stuff. They're helping out. I don't have to say much more. I say it every night. Tina Deskovich, Tiffany Justice, all the women, and even the men that are there, help them out. Get good officials, local officials elected. That's what they're trying to do. So work with them. And lastly, speaking of that, we cannot let up after this Trump victory. We're seeing all the good things that are going on with the coalition that Donald Trump has made with Elon Musk, with Vivek Ramaswamy, and everything like that. But we can't let up. There are local elections that are still going on. There are things that are this year. Go get involved. Find out what elections you can help out on now. Start figuring out candidates you can primary now that you don't like, whether it's state, whether it's federal, whether it's local. And there's an incumbent that sucks. There's plenty in New York that suck that I want to get the fuck out. And I'm going to start doing my due diligence and trying to get them primaried. I'm going to try and put them on Elon's map because Elon said he will primary any shitty candidates. And I'm going to make sure that happens. I'm going to try my damnedest at least. So make sure you're doing what you can. Watching all these types of shows, are quote unquote conservative, right leaning shows, is good. Watch me, watch Rob Noor, watching, Glenn Beck and, Jesse Kelly Poso, things like that. Tim Cast, all those guys, Daily Wire, everyone on the Blaze, like watching us is great, but, getting, being interactive with us is awesome. But what's better is getting involved, and it's not always easy. It's as simple, but it's as simple as looking up when your board of education meetings are and going to a few and listening to them and bringing up subjects and bringing up things that they're going to have to answer for. And when your answer is not satisfactory, research and find out more. Things like that are easy to do. Find out social emotional learning is in your schools. If there's a program in there, there's one in mine. I got to work my fucking ass off to get it out of there. And if you have any questions, DM me. I've read a good amount, and I know somewhat. And if you want more help, go listen to New Discourses with James Lindsay. He has been a hawk about SEO. I know he gets heat right now for battling with a bunch of conservatives and things like that over the Christian nationalism and the woke right. But James is a net positive for what is going on right now. So while I don't agree with him on everything, he's someone to look to. Go look to the Lotus Eaters if you want to find out about the history of the left and things like that. They've been fantastic. There's so many outlets, but the best thing you could do, get knowledgeable, then get involved at the local level. All right. I want to jump in to the fun stuff. Nate G coming in. I know Dave can't always make it, but he gets a fella too. I can hear his West Virginia dial up in spirit. Yeah. Dave. He's doing what he can with his new job. He's really working out his schedule. I don't know if he has work tonight or not, but he's probably fucking sleeping because, overnights, going from working days to overnights is such a big shift. And he'll eventually get into the rhythm and he'll jump back in. He'll start doing his thing again because that's what Dave does. He rallies. So we'll be back. We'll have David back with us again soon as can be, damn it. But overall, yeah, this is what's going on. Oh, I don't know if TikTok's working. It's saying sending data. What the fuck does that mean? Get out of it. And maybe if I click back into it, boom, send the data. Man, I might not be live on TikTok. That's actually kind of sad. Anyway, let's jump into the fun stuff tonight because there's big news. So last night we were talking about how the continuing resolution, the massive one, failed. And there was a new one that Trump approved. Now they voted on it last night. And there were 38 Republicans that said no, along with all the Democrats. And a lot of the Republicans were getting shit. But there was some good reasons why they voted no. And I was initially annoyed. And I was like, the fuck? Then I saw a list of who was on it. And there were some Republicans that I really respected on it. So I really want to look into it more. And, I looked into what Chip Roy, Thomas Massey, Andy Biggs, Tim Burchett was on there. Corey Mills was on there. Corey Mills has been fucking awesome. He's just flies around helping victims of shit. And those were some of the type of people that said no to it. So I wanted to look into it more. And so here's what I found when I was looking some of this shit up. Um, I just want to Chip Roy talking about the GOP spending bill, the 166 page spending bill. He had some comments for the body last night that I think is important. Now, Chip Roy has been getting a ton of heat for being a rhino, for being a this. Like, yes, he fell into the George Floyd mania. He did a lot of things wrong. He was, he wasn't for Trump in 2016, 2020, and 2024. But again, like I say, Chip Roy's been a net positive. Has he gotten to everything right? No. But is he generally a conservative? Does he vote well? And is he mostly on the side of conservatives? Yes. And I think as Trump goes into his presidency and he's going to do his 4 years and come out of it, we all need to start to realize that being MAGA, Make America Great Again, being a Trump fan, a Trump supporter, doesn't mean marching in lockstep. We all don't have to be fucking Laura Loomer, okay? Laura Loomer's crazy. Awesome. She does good shit, but she's out of her fucking mind. She does in lockstep with everything Trump says. And there's a bunch of them too, like Alex Brucerowitz, who I know had a medical issue about a week ago, and I'm happy Alex is doing better. But he's another one, marches in lockstep. There's those zealots. There's the ones that are like, you're in or you're out. You agree with everything or you don't. That's not the way it has to be, guys. You could disagree with Trump on things and still be a Trump supporter. I disagree with him on a good amount of things. I talked about it yesterday. There's some things that he does or wants to do that I dislike. Just like there were some nominees that we're just scratching our head going, the fuck is he nominating them for? But you could still be a supporter and you could still be on quote unquote our side while not always agreeing with us. We need to get back to that. We can't have this demagoguery. We can't make him an autocrat. We can't basically only do what he says because he's always right. So I want to share this. It's a 2-minute clip of Chip Roy. Boom, boom. And let me read. So it is from Eric Doherty, is the one that posted this. He said, Justin, and like I said, this was yesterday at 6:20 p.m. Justin, Congressman Chip Roy, Texas, delivers a fiery speech against the GOP spending bill because it will increase the debt by $5 trillion. Quote, you never have any ounce of self-respect. Get out and campaign, say you're going to balance the budget, and then you come in here, pass a $110 billion unpaid for. It's embarrassing. It's shameful. To take this bill yesterday and congratulate yourself because it's shorter in pages but increases the debt by $5 trillion is asinine. Absolutely sickened by a party that campaigns on fiscal responsibility. This side of the aisle is unserious about actually reducing deficits. The entire body has been racking up debt for my entire life, 36 trillion. So those are some highlights. I want to watch Chip in action right here because I think it's important to listen to what he has to say.
I was just texting with my son back home in Austin, who I haven't seen in quite a long time because I'm here trying to fight for him. When I got through cancer about 12 years ago, I made my promise to my kids that I would do everything I can to save this country. And what we're doing right now is to continue to double down on the things that are destroying the republic. We are going to increase the debt ceiling, not just $4 trillion, that's false. We have spent $4.7 trillion in additional debt in the last 19 months. We're going to increase the debt by $5 trillion.
Which is fucking crazy, right? In 19 months, 4.7 trillion, that is wild. That is wild. And again, Chip isn't always right, but he's right about this. And where his stance has been on this whole entire CR battle has been on the right side. So I want to continue to hear him talk here.
That's what's going to happen right here by Republicans, increasing the debt $5 trillion. And what are you doing in the same bill? $110 billion unpaid for, because you never have any ounce of self-respect to go out and campaign saying you're going to balance the budget, and then you come in here and pass $110 billion unpaid for. On top of the $200 billion you did for WEP, you guys won't agree with that, but the fact of the matter is $330 billion. Congratulations, you've added to the debt since you were given the majority again on November 5th. It's embarrassing. It's shameful. Yes, I think this bill is better than it was yesterday on certain respects, but to take this bill yesterday and congratulate yourself because it's shorter in pages but increases the debt by $5 trillion is asinine. And that's precisely what Republicans are doing.
Now, what I like about this is he's calling out the uniparty, and I think that he needs to get some credit for that. He's calling out the uniparty, he's calling out the bullshit that goes on. And what he's saying here is that yes, it's shorter, but there's still a lot of unpaid shit that's in it. And if you want to call yourself a conservative, then there's no way that you could disagree with what he's talking about here. Let's finish this up. There's a little bit more. Maybe we're not listening to the whole thing.
I am absolutely sickened by a party that campaigns on fiscal responsibility and has the temerity to go forward to the American people and say, you think this is fiscally responsible. It is absolutely ridiculous. It also turns off PAYGO. It turns off the $1.7 trillion in automatic cuts under PAYGO. Because this side of the aisle is profoundly unserious about actually reducing deficits, just as my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are profoundly unserious about reducing deficits. The entire body.
I like that Chip Boy. Every time he tries to knock him about paying, he always turns back to Democrats and is like, you fuckers too. You guys as well. You're assholes too. Let's finish this up.
The entire body has been racking up debt for my entire life. $36 trillion. $1 trillion of interest. We rack up $1 trillion every 100 days. And what are we going to do about it? We're going to run around and talk about cutting taxes, but not doing what's necessary to cut the spending along with the cut taxes. My other side of the aisle, my colleagues will say, oh no, we got to increase taxes, but we'll do anything to cut spending. And so here we sit in the same mess. And I got to be honest, I want to remind people, this is Article 1. I yield back.
So right there, now people are going to be like, he's grandstanding and shit like that. And yeah, he is. Obviously, he's fucking grandstanding, right? That's part of what he's doing. But you know what? You got to give people credit when they're right. And he's fucking right. If you're a conservative, then you cannot agree to the things that are in there. And it was 166 pages. And the reason why so many people were jumping on it, and Cernovich got on him, and a few of the people on the conservative side got on him because they got on his past. He's a rhino. He's this and that. We are so quick to throw that around. There are some real rhinos in the Republican Party. You have fucking Speaker Mike Johnson, right? You have Lindsey Graham. You have all of these assholes that are real rhinos. We can't keep going after the ones that just disagree with us, but generally are pretty good. I think that is such a wrong thing to do, and we do it constantly. Now, I want to jump to this because this is also on the back yesterday, and it was maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes after that was posted up about Chip Roy. Thomas Massey, who was also a strident person against this, tweets right here. He says, this isn't complicated. Separate the bills and vote on them individually. 1 vote on the clean CR, 1 vote on the debt limit, 1 vote on disaster relief, 1 vote on farm bailouts. Radical, right? Individual bills for each issue. And it's absolutely wild that this would be considered radical, right? It is crazy that this is something that will be considered radical. That, sorry about that, fucking with that. That trying to be fiscally responsible is crazy, and having separate bills. Now, I'm still pissed off about that because I don't want all that. I want separate spending bills for each part of the budget, right? That's just splitting up what is already in the 166 page bill and basically going over what's good, what's bad, fuck this, keep this. And if they all get passed, they all get passed. But that is a much better way. And I agree with Thomas Massey. And they were both no's on the spending bill before it was going on. So here we go. Coming in today. Now, today, the news is we did get a House passed bill, but there was some stuff leading up to it. So once again, we're going to turn over to Thomas Massey. This post from Wall Street Math, update, Thomas Massey has won. The House GOP leadership is splitting the spending bill into smaller pieces. Each section will be voted on individually and allowed to pass or fail on its own. CR, disaster relief, debt limit increase, etc., etc. They will each be separate votes. Thomas Massey replied to it. This was in fact correct when you tweeted it. But Speaker Johnson flipped his decision after the meeting when he spoke to Hakeem Jeffries and realized he can get Democrat votes to pass all the legislation as one bill. So again, the fucking swamp operates again. The swamp wins and operates again. And this is the type of stuff that pisses you off. Because again, Whether or not this whole entire continuing resolution with all the bullshit is better or not is not the issue. The issue is these swamp motherfuckers keep doing the same thing. That chair needs to be vacated. Speaker Johnson needs to be gone. Because you know what? His group and a big part of it wanted him to do the right thing. And what? Because he didn't want to spend the 2-3 hours it was going to take to vote on 5 different fucking things. He just wants to vote on one thing because the Democrats were going to let him get a victory. It's absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And this is the type of stuff that we have to deal with over and over and over. So then we go from there, and about an hour later, Thomas Massey's at it again. So Elon Musk quote tweeted, so is this a Republican bill or a Democrat bill? And then Thomas Massey replies to him, it's much improved because of the transparency and feedback X has provided. The sleuths of X, including Elon Musk and his efforts, definitely helped make this CR much better. So he goes, it went from roughly 1,500 pages to 100. Lots of pork was cut. Great. Johnson agreed this morning to pass what remained as separate bills, but when he found out Jeffries will provide votes, he went back to one bill. So again, same thing that was said before. And again, why is there not a serious consideration to get Johnson out as speaker? If he is going to do this, then what's the point? What's the point? There's a small group that actually speak for the constituency, for the people, for us. Okay? There's a very small group. And those are the ones that we want them to be listening to. Now, Chip Roy comes out and talks about what went on with the bill with him. He says, notwithstanding significant progress over the last few days, I voted no on HR 10545, the third version of the government funding, quote unquote, CR. While it was a marked improvement on the 1,547-page Cramnibus that was released earlier this week, it still included $110 billion in supplemental funding with no offsets or pay-fors, which I cannot support, aka that is $110 billion unaccounted for dollars. And I know in the time of sending billions over to Ukraine, billions over to Israel, spending like a fucking drunken sailor over the last, 8 years at least, because Trump did it as well when he was in the presidency. This is just uncalled for. Phil Labonte on Timcast always talks about the unaccounted for debt that we cannot pay for. Like Chip Roy said in that, there is $1 trillion in debt racked up every single 3 months. We cannot continue to survive like this. It's not going to work. We will default as a country. None of us have experienced default. I don't want to experience default. I don't know what that's going to mean for the American dollar. I don't know what that's going to mean for our way of living. But these people in Congress don't give a shit. And it's awful. Let's continue what he has to say. It is notable that our much derided efforts this week as quote-unquote fiscal hawks resulted in 2 important things. 1, avoiding $5 trillion being added to our existing $36 trillion in national debt with 0 spending cuts or structural reforms, which is great. But number 2, delivering for President Trump a path to stop Chuck Schumer from abusing the debt ceiling to royal financial markets through a framework for substantial and necessary spending cuts. Merry Christmas. So he's saying that he delivered for President Trump. And I have to say, throughout all the shit that Trump has given him, for him to try and continue to say that he's working with Trump is massive. Because like I said, I do not think that Chip Roy's against Donald Trump now that he's in. I think Chip Roy thinks that there were better people in the past 3 cycles, better people than Donald Trump to run the country. But now that he's in, I truly believe Chip Roy is going to want to do what he can to help, but he is going to say no when he believes that it is the wrong thing. And that's okay, everybody. If you could be the most strident Trump supporter, the man isn't always right. And if you're a conservative, you will disagree with him a good amount on some things because he does things that aren't conservative. I listen to Glenn Beck a good amount. And Stu Burguiere is a strident conservative. I know Glenn Beck has come around to a lot of things that Trump does, and even he disagrees with him sometimes. But Stu Burguiere is not afraid to call out and say, hey, this is bad Trump. I don't like this. And that's a good thing. You could support somebody and still disagree with them. Nate G asking, did you catch the Luke Beasley episode of Timcast? I started listening to it, and in a weird way, Nate, I heard a good amount of it. And, I've heard of Luke Beasley before, and Luke is your typical milquetoast, popular for headline scraping liberal, right? Not really having much substance. You put him up against Rob Noor in a debate, and Rob's going to fucking roast him. What I didn't like just from the get-go, like I think I listened to maybe 30 minutes of it so far, 40 minutes. It's a team up. It's very much what they do on your major networks. And this is why sometimes, like, if you're going to have Luke Beasley there, you need to make sure Ian Crossland's there in that group. Because right now you have Tim, who is still a semi-Bernie bro, but definitely leans significantly more right than he ever has. He has some left leanings. You had Luke Rudkowski there, who Luke is a very much a narco-capitalist libertarian type. So he's going to disagree 100%. You had Phil Labonte, who, from what I was listening to, Phil was mostly quiet. He was saying his things, he was getting his things in, but Phil is a libertarian, right-leaning conservative type. And then you had Elad Eliyahu, who's a neocon. And from what I heard from it, I'm going to listen to the rest of it. There was a lot of fucking clucking hens. There was a lot of just arguments and debates. And can you define this? And come on, you know what you're getting. Luke Beasley's been on there before. Okay. You know what you're going to get out of him. And it became a lot of gotcha. And I didn't like that. I understand what the show is. It's not what the show is like. It's meant to have that kind of debate, right? That's the purpose. And it's not like Tim only leans in and doesn't debate. Like, he'll debate people on the right too if he believes they're wrong, right? But overall, I mean, it kind of became such a, I'm going to listen to the rest of it because I do like Tim Cast. I always have. But part of me felt bad for Luke, but he knew what he got himself into. He was trying to come out to another group. Nate goes, that's fair. Phil kind of laid off. I think he saw it, but goddamn, Luke deserved it on J6. I didn't hear J6 yet. I kind of heard parts of it when they were talking. Like, I got to the point where they were talking about riots and things like that. And when's a right wing? Can you define right wing? And went back and forth. Circle, 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 circle. Can you define? You can't define. I go on data. I go on this. I pull that. It got kind of annoying. And I listened to podcasts on 2x speed. Grateful for that. So, I mean, it's something where it came to a point where Tim, as the host, needed to move on quicker than he was doing. I know Tim wanted to get his point. I know Tim wanted to push him to define it. But this is the reason why Joe Rogan's so good at what he does. Joe Rogan will push a little bit, and then when he knows he's getting nowhere, he moves on. And Tim's typically good about that. That's why he's been a host for so long, right? He's typically pretty decent about that. But for some reason, with Luke and the way he was going about it, I think it was because of Luke's ignorance and naivete that Tim didn't want to lay off of it. But he needed to move on very much quicker than he did. Nate going, I can't stand Elad. I mean, Nate, the thing is, Elad is quite literally what we grew up with as a conservative. He's your neocon. And I mean, Elad is not a populist. And I think that's what we need to get our heads around. Most of us are more of the populist kind of paleo conservative type of thing, where Elad is an admitted neocon and he defends the establishment. He's a uniparty guy. And I mean, there's a lot to disagree with Elad. And I don't think Elad is necessarily right on a lot or on the side of a lot of correct things, but I do respect that he's there and that he, chimes in and does his comments. All right, let's jump back over to, so we ended up with Chip over there, and now I want to go to exactly what the bill is. This is from Just the News, John Solomon over there. House approves stopgap bill to fund the government through March 14th. So now we are going to go through March 14th. So in 4 months, we're going to be back to this bullshit again. After scrapping a 1,547 page bill on Wednesday, the House failed to pass a 116 page version on Thursday. The House of Representatives approved the stopgap spending bill to keep the government open through March 14th. Now, quickly, I just want to make sure. When they say fund the government, keep the government open, it doesn't mean that they're not going to pay for the necessary shit. Defense is going to be paid for. All of your entitlements are going to be paid for. Your Medicare and Medicaid will not go away. That is such a lie that they always say. when it comes to welfare is state by state. If you ever hear anybody when they're talking about um, government shutdowns, welfare and food stamps and shit like that, that's not happening because welfare is a state by state thing. Your food stamps, your all those types of things are state by state. So if you hear anyone say that, tell them they're fucking lying or they're just listening to bullshit. The government shutdown affects the workers that get furloughed, and when they get back pay. I get it. It sucks to be furloughed. You're not getting paid. But for the most part, it doesn't really hurt much. Okay. Because let's remember, government workers are taxpayer dollars. The more government workers there are, the more they have to take out from us. So if they fucking trim them, I honestly don't care. If you're talented enough, you'll get a job in the real world. But so I just want to make sure we know what a government shutdown is. Nate G is saying, I hate neocons probably as much as progressives. As a reformed neocon myself. You know what, Nate? The thing is, neocons are very much, in a way, on the left. They want very similar things. Now, neocons kind of ruled the world in the early 2000s, and things like that. And I'm kind of torn on the neocons because a lot of, we get the military industrial complex from them. We've gotten a lot of domination from them. There's been good things that have come from the neocon philosophy. I get it. Country building is terrible and things like that. It's not great. But at the same time, it brought along a lot of things. And you always had your Rush Limbaugh going against the neocons, right? So he always knew what was right and what was wrong when it came to that. But they were kind of a necessary evil at the time because there was not a hunger or a thirst in the country to have your populist. So for the time being, the neocons were necessary. Now, we saw when the Tea Party happened, that's when your populist movement happened. And the Tea Party was when the neocons were done. People were starting to turn against George Bush. George Bush has showed himself that he's an absolute uniparty shell. George W. And again, you can look back at all the issues. It's easy to look back at history and say all these issues. But when I look back at it, at the time of Clinton, of the time of George W. Bush, Barack Obama kind of stirred on the Tea Party because he was more radical. And it was seen, conservatives saw that you could not play the same game. When Romney got ran over and with the ways they talked about Romney and the way that the news was able to railroad him and put him in a picture in a light, that's when the conservatives saw, the real conservatives, like, all right, we need to do something here because it's not going to work. What's going on? We can't keep playing ball. They're not playing ball the same way. So while I agree in a lot of ways, I'm not a fan of the neocons, especially the current ones that are hanging on. They were a necessary evil in a lot of ways. That's got to be the best way that I'm going to put it. That he was a necessary evil at the time because they were the best you were going to get as a conservative. So anyway, let's keep going here. House of Representatives, blah, blah, blah. After scrapping the bigger bill on Wednesday, the House failed to pass a 116-page version. Friday saw lawmakers back a 118-page version in a 366-34 vote. Bill got Democrat support. Handful of Republicans opposed it. It didn't pass the Rules Committee. It needed a 2/3 vote to support to pass, which I fucking hate. I hate that. Number one, they didn't do the 72-hour rule. And number two, it is crazy that it didn't go through the Rules Committee. I hate when, and I know, listen, the chambers have the right to decide their own rules. That is in the Constitution. They can decide their own rules. Yes. Okay? That is true. But it is very annoying when they just bypass regular traditional things. They do it all the time. They've been doing this. We haven't had a budget since Barack Obama. Oh, wait. Maybe a little bit after. Maybe we had one under Obama that we had a budget. It's crazy to think that we haven't gone since the Obama era. Like, it is wild. Nachi with Tom Woods is a few great episodes on the death of the paleocons and the rise of the neocons. I mean, I got to watch those because they're probably really good. And yeah, it was a different time when it was different things needed. Newt Gingrich getting that, helping get that massive majority. We look at Newt now and we're like, fuck him. But at the same time, he did what he did when he needed to do it. He played the game. Is he a uniparty shell? Yes. Is Karl Rove a uniparty shell? Yes. But at the time, they were the ones needed to do what they needed to do to continue to get some sort of conservatism going and continuing it. So back to just the news. The bill notably did not include provisions to address the debt limits sought by President-elect Donald Trump. Both sides are claiming victory, blah, blah, blah. The bill heads to the Senate where passage is unclear. Now, that's the interesting part. That's the interesting part to me. Will this pass the Senate? It's going to be interesting. I think that with so many Democrats in the House joining in on it, I think it has a good chance of passing the Senate. I think your Mike Lee's going to vote against it. I think Rand Paul's going to vote against it. Chance that Byron, not Byron. There's another senator I like there. There's a few of them. I think that there might be a small core that votes against it, but I think overall it's going to get overwhelming Democrat support. I'll be surprised. I'm curious to see where Fetterman votes. I'm very curious to see where Fetterman votes and to see if he votes for it or against it, because Fetterman's a wild card, man. He might sit there and look at this and be like, this isn't responsible. I'm not voting for it, because he's just been a weird fucking dude. Or he might just go in and get along. Who knows? But I mean, we shall see. We shall see. Let's continue here. What do we got going on for next? Oh, this one's hilarious. This one is hilarious. Give me 1 second real quick. Still coughing, everyone. Still having little mini coughing fits. When I talk for this long, my voice gets a little weird, and I don't want to be coughing into the mic. Blah, 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 blah. So I'll go off screen real quick and I'll do it. But this had me laughing because Nancy Mace has been a very weird politician in a lot of ways. There are times where you're like, Nancy Mace can be okay. And then there's times where it's like, fuck Nancy Mace. I think her highlight is when she walked in that like all black leatherish dress and everyone's like, oh, Nancy Mace might be decent looking. That was kind of the highlight. And then she started doing, she did the trans bathrooms thing. She's flip-flopped on whether she's MAGA. She's kind of getting more into the supported Trump in a lot of ways. This is a fucking weird one, though. Nancy Mace's post, this was today. It's this morning. This cringy fucking thing, hold the line, with her fist pumping in pink. And she writes, 2 words for Jack Poso. Would not. Not sure what his obsession of me is all about. It's weird. We need more strong, intelligent, conservative women who love the Constitution and support Donald Trump. I won't be bullied by Jack or anyone. # hold the line. Now, she really thinks that Jack Poso wants to fuck her. I'm sorry, you're an elected official. What the fuck are you doing, Nancy Mace? Nothing drives everyone crazier than when these female conservatives decide to take the feminist route. And they all do it. They all do it. Female conservatives are only so conservative for the most part, right? They all will eventually turn back to the woman side of them and start using the woman side and complaining. And they all have a little feminist streak in them, especially because they were raised in this era of feminism, of third wave feminism, fourth wave. I don't know what the fuck wave we're on. So that started a kind of shitstorm against her, and she's getting destroyed. First, we're going to start off with Jack Poso. On your best day, you couldn't hold the candle to Tanya Tay. What a bizarre thing for an elected official to say to a married man, and I couldn't agree more. Like, this is out of pocket for Nancy Mace to say, because again, you're an elected official. You know Jack Posobiec's a married man. What are you doing? Like, really, what are you doing? It is absolutely crazy that she would say this. But then that continues. We go over the Hodge twins chime in. Jack asked Nancy some tough questions and she came back with telling everybody she won't have sex with him. What the fuck? She turned into AOC. And yeah, we make fun of AOC for this shit because everyone that criticizes her, it's like, I want to have sex with you. And it's like, okay, AOC, we just kind of asked you why you are voting for this. No one wants to have sex with you. Like, stop. And Nancy Mace pulling the woman card drives me and a lot of people crazy. More people chimed in. Jack Poso coming back with a thing. South Carolina's Nancy Mace joins Democrats in a vote to hold Steve Bannon in contempt of Congress. And that's huge because her joining in hold Steve Bannon in contempt in Congress is a bad move. Is a really bad move. It's a bad look because you want to support Donald Trump. You don't throw Steve Bannon behind bars. That was huge for conservatives. And again, she was wrong on that. That was in October 2021. That's only 3 years ago. And we're going to kind of do one of the mic drops here. I'm going to share this tab. Tanya Teaposobiec. Honey, he's not going to rent a Honda Civic when he's got a Ferrari at home. And again, that's a boom moment. That is a bitch step off. And I mean, yeah. Nate G going, Nancy Mace was a George Floyd apologist. She was. But Nate, I will say this, and a lot of people are holding it against people. Every person outside of maybe a few on the right, and I want to say very few, did not fall initially for that video of saying what happened to George Floyd was wrong. And I will say, no, I will go up say I did it. I will admit it. When I saw the video, I'm like, that's fucked up. I did the stupid fucking black box, dumbass thing there. And a lot of people were on it saying it was wrong. Now, a lot of the same people turned around when we saw more videos. We got more evidence. Was like, no, this dude was high of his fucking mind. He was on fentanyl. It was a technique that's allowed, blah, blah, blah. The guy died because he was hopped up on drugs, right? And when you see the whole video, you hear the woman that's with him saying, don't resist. You hear him saying that he's fucking can't breathe and he's struggling even before anything goes on. So the video that we initially saw caused a reaction. So again, the George Floyd apologist thing is being thrown around at everybody. It needs to fucking stop. Everyone. We could probably go back to everyone's timeline unless they deleted it and find something where everyone was saying, hey, when we initially saw what George Floyd was fucked up, because we didn't have all the evidence. So it's a little fuzzy when it comes to the George Floyd stuff for me. But I want to continue because Malcolm Flex has this right here. He says, remember when you sued to break into a boys only space, yet spend days on end crying that men are breaking into women only spaces? And here's what he's talking about. A federal judge today ordered the state of South Carolina and the Citadel to pay $4.6 million in legal fees for two women who waged a legal battle to end the state-financed military colleges policy of admitting only men. Now, this is crazy because there are female-only colleges, and there still, I believe, are only men-only colleges. So they fought to break into a school that only admitted men. Let's continue. Judge Weston Hawk, of federal district court here, said the Citadel had resorted to scorched earth tactics in seeking to deny the admission of Shannon Faulkner, who in 1996 ended the college's 153-year history as an all-male institution. Miss Faulkner dropped out shortly after enrolling in the military college, which is crazy, right? She did it to prove a point. It was one of those feminist fucking bullshit things that they did. And continue. Which will graduate its first female cadet, Nancy Mace, in May. So Nancy Mace decided to put herself and become a female feminist martyr. This is what she did. The award covers the legal costs for Miss Faulkner and Nancy Mallett, who joined in the lawsuit. Now, I am also of the tone of taking the good with the bad in this shit. When Nancy does fucking stupid shit like this, I'm going to get on her. And again, I kind of hate all politicians equally. There's some I respect more than others, but they all suck. Okay? Top to bottom. I will tell people if they come on this show and they're a politician that I don't trust them to do the right thing. And I will call them out when they do the wrong thing, and I will praise them when they do the right thing. Chip Roy, Nancy Mace, whether it's Thomas Massie, Rand Paul, Donald Trump. I don't care who the fuck you are. If I like you, I don't care. The only people I might trust is if I really know them. And I don't know any of these people. They may come on the show. I had some great people that were running for office come on the show. I like them. But if they became politicians, I don't trust them. I don't trust a single politician. And the fact that we now trust politicians are crazy. She's a literal TERF. Yeah. Yeah. Trans exclusionary radical feminist. Yeah. It's wild to think. And again, she's right on some things. And I'll be cool with that. When she supports and does the right thing, votes the right way, cool. Cool. I'm cool with it. But when she does dumb shit, I'm going to call her out. And I just wanted to take a look here because this is what started it all. Back 23 hours ago, Jack Poso, Nancy Mace, once a Fed, always a Fed. He did something by Killdozer. And she said, I assume went from making waffles to making history. That was probably about her fucking joining in. And it continued from here because Nancy fired back, Harley, do you have a reading problem? It's not the number of pages that matter. It's what those pages for. The CM, she responds to him in a whole thing after he did that. And then there was a back and forth. Steve did 4 months of federal prison because Republicans joined the J6 tyranny and now act like it didn't happen. Fiscal conservative, Nancy Mace over here. President Zelensky received a standing ovation this morning. He requested more defense equipment, more sanctions, closed skies, more humanitarian aid. He praised the Ukraine people for fighting for their freedom and democracy, the same things we cherish at home. She was championing Ukraine March 2022. Now, she was on the wrong side of this because a lot of people even then were like, the fuck are we doing? So let's keep going. Again, fiscal conservative lobbies to spend money faster to Ukraine. Again, she was on Ukraine with this. On Hannity talking about how we need to spend more money to go there. Jack again getting on her. I think Zelensky's like George Washington. Again, obviously she says something there. It looks like she's on Ukrainian TV. And yeah, she said on April 22 too, I think Zelensky's like George Washington. And then we keep on going here. He goes, you sided with Liz Cheney and Nancy Pelosi to send Steve Bannon to jail. That's all anybody needs to know about Nancy Mace. Because she tried to respond. Have you read the Constitution like ever? Familiar? She's trying to school him on like the process of things like that. And Jesus Christmas, her aides did a really good job researching for her here. And again, so he just continued. He did what you do on X. You research, you pile on. Her response was to say, I won't fuck you. He doesn't want to fuck you, Nancy Mace. He's just calling you out. And if you can't handle being called out for your past, then maybe you shouldn't be a politician. We need to get more politicians who sit there and are like, I wasn't right about that. Sorry. And that's it. Jack Poso again, Budget Hawk. As long as Zelensky and the Ukrainian people are willing to fight, we are going to supply them with arms until Putin is forced to abandon his invasion. After we fail to prevent the invasion, we can't waver our support of Ukrainian people to save the country. That was back in 5/7/22. So she's continued to be there. And now he wakes up this morning. And after that, that's what she said. And that's what started this whole shitstorm. As much as it's fucking stupid, it's also hilarious that this all went on. Because again, I am of the policy. I am not going to sit there and if Nancy Mace votes the right way, if Nancy Mace says the right thing, if Nancy Mace does something good, I will say, hey, Nancy Mace did a good thing. But when Nancy Mace is being a dumbass, I will call her out for being a dumbass. She's being a dumbass. She sat there and she had a guy who called her out for all of her shit and then immediately turned to sex. Turned to using, I'm a woman. I'm not going to have sex with you. We need more strong women. No, we need more strong people. We don't need more strong women. It is not a prerequisite of whether you have a dick or a vagina, what we need. If you're a woman who is a conservative and isn't a dumbass, you're invited. If you're a man who is a conservative and isn't a dumbass, you're invited to come and be with us and help us. We don't need more strong women who support Donald Trump. Fuck that. We need people. It does not matter. And to play the identity game, which again, women go back to all the time, conservative or not, they go back to the identity game. They go back to, well, I'm a woman. Stupid, right? But it's just part of what it is. We've seen it time and time again. So, I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. But I just found that to be kind of funny with Nancy Mace going on there. All right. We got to move a little bit quicker because we're 49 minutes in and I have only gotten through 2 fucking things. What am I doing tonight? Okay. This is an interesting one. This is from the AP. Now, I will say, I initially got this from John Solomon and Just the News, but I wanted to dig a little deeper. And unfortunately, AP had a better article on it. Sorry, John. I like John a lot, though. But here we go. The AP. Chinese national charged with acting as Beijing's agent in local California election. Fucking crazy. This is by Didi Tang, Amy Taxon, and Jamie Ding. Okay. A Chinese national was arrested Thursday on charges of acting as an illegal agent for Beijing when serving as a campaign manager for an unnamed politician elected to a city council in Southern California 2 years ago. Now, this is what caused me to do digging because they mentioned that the politician, but I never saw who it was, what it was. Why the fuck is the politician unnamed? They're a grown-ass man or woman. Why are they unnamed? That bothers me. They're a public figure. They're a politician. They were elected. They should not remain unnamed. I don't care that a person was a campaign manager, was an agent. You need to be questioned. Did you know? What did you know? Why did you know? And what did you do while this person was in your space? I hate that they're unnamed and I hope it comes out. The arrest of Yaoning Mike Sun, 64, came at the time of rising concerns that Chinese government has cultivated a network of operatives to influence local elections in the U.S. to install politicians who are friendly to Beijing and can help promote Chinese interests. Now, I can already see what this is going to spring. We are going to start to get the whole entire, you're being racist because you're suspecting all Chinese people of being spies. I mean, all fucking people who are former Chinese nationals that came here and are getting involved in our politics. Yeah, maybe we should question them a little harder in California, right? Because if this is where it's coming from, I mean, I'm not going to go the FDR route and start putting them in camps because as a conservative, I don't believe in camps. I'm not on the left. Leftists love camps. I'm not saying we should rally them up and put them in camps. That's what leftists do. But I am saying that maybe we should protect ourselves a little more here. I'm not saying all Asians should be suspected of being Chinese spies or all Chinese people should be suspected, but we should, keep on investigating. Where there's smoke, there's fire, right? Because as we go on to continue to read the article here, according to a complaint filed Tuesday at the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California, Sun is accused of conspiring with Chen Jun, who is sentenced to 20 months last month for acting as an illegal agent of the Chinese government. Chen, 71, also a Chinese national, pleaded guilty in July to use Chinese money to bribe federal agents to undermine the anti-Beijing spiritual group Falun Gong. The charge against Sun shows that Chen also conspired to interfere with local elections. So we need to perk up, right? Again, there is a fine line between being a racist and protecting yourselves. It wasn't clear immediately if Sun had a lawyer who could speak on his behalf. On Friday, the Chinese Foreign Ministry said it was unfamiliar with the case, but said China never interferes in internal affairs of other countries. Yeah, fuck you, China. Because you want to know why? Because America's interfering with your affairs. Again, we all do it, okay? We all have spies. We all have people that jump in and try to, get our influence there. I wouldn't doubt if we are fucking with China left and right as well. Difference is we can't just have a regular white or black American or any other American just go in there because they're very homogenous. We need to have a Chinese American who's willing to jump in there and do the job a little bit harder. We're here. We are so smorgasbord, hodgepodge, and that open fucking border probably doesn't help where we accept everyone. And we have people of all shapes, sizes, nationalities, religions involved in our government, involved in our everyday day to day. So a Chinese person who was a Chinese national, now an naturalized American, being involved in their local politics isn't surprising to us. So that's why it's harder to determine here. But we all have spies. It's all everywhere. Okay. I skipped over a story the other day where there was a guy that admitted to running a Chinese prison, I believe in New York City. So China's doing its fucking thing here, and they will always try to. And again, I can't blame them. It's geopolitics. This is what it is. This is what geopolitics is. So let's continue here. According to the affidavit, Sun was instructed by Chen to write up a report in 2023 to recount to Chinese officials how they helped the local politician get elected. Subsequent writings between the two men described the city council person as a new political star and included a request for $80,000 to fund more pro-Beijing activities in the United States, according to court documents. Chen asked Sun to list all mainstream American politicians and city council people the city council person was familiar with, and told Sun that it would be very effective to elevate the status of the council person in China. This case is yet another example of a very disturbing trend. The People's Republic of China is seeking to influence foreign and domestic policy in the United States. Martin Estrada, U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California, said in a call with reporters, to do so, government officials in China are seeking to help get elected individuals who they see as being friendly to Chinese foreign policy. Get out of here, AP. So the council person is not named in court papers. Yaning Soon is listed as a campaign treasurer for Arcadia City Council candidate Eileen Wong on a campaign statement filing stamped for February 2022, according to the records of the city's website. In filings later in 2022, another individual is listed as a treasurer, the records show. Wong ran for election in the city council in 2022 and won. She ran a tutoring services company in the city about 15 miles northeast of Los Angeles and has participated in numerous curriculum, blah, blah, blah. Wong didn't immediately respond to emails seeking comment, and a message was left on the phone number listed online as belonging to her. Jackie Tran, a spokesperson for the city of Arcadia, didn't immediately return a message. Blah, 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 blah. Charges assumed following a former aide to two New York governors September. I mean, there's a lot going on with China and things like that. I'm curious if Wong is the one. And I'm interested because it does not say, you know, who Wong is. So let's look this up real quick. So, what was her name? Eileen Wong. So, Eileen Wong Arcadia. So, boom. Eileen Wong Arcadia. Council member Eileen Wong. What is her political affiliation here? Tremendous council member together. I don't see her political affiliation. I'm very now curious to see what she is. Let's go to her LinkedIn. Maybe her LinkedIn will say. Usually you can get an idea of whether or not they're Democrats or Republicans off their LinkedIn, but this does not say. I mean, I'm going to imagine that she is a Democrat. California, there's a lot based off that. This is it does not say if she is a Democrat or Republican. This is wild and hard to find, and I do not like that. How hard this is to find. Among Arcadia political party. There we go. Let's see. I don't know. All right, I'm almost done looking this up because it's bothering me. We'll find out more later because the fact that I cannot find out what she leans, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, okay. After months of waffling, longtime Democrat Edmund Liu swung to Donald Trump because of a smash and grab down the street. When Liu first moved, blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's talking about someone else random. Okay, fuck this. I wasted too much time looking this up. But overall, this is what it is. And yeah, we got to be careful here. I'm not saying go crazy and that every friggin' Chinese person is working for the People's Republic of China and all things, but let's be smart about who we're trusting and who we're not here. All right. So I want to jump to this. Unusual Whales has this tweet. Breaking. Party City is closing all of its stores and corporate employees were told today that it's their last day of employment. They follow up. It's declared bankruptcy in January 2023. The company has struggled to pay off its $1.7 billion debt load, and it was able to cancel nearly $1 billion in debt by going bankrupt. I mean, this is hard, man. Party City is a well-known chain around the country, and it has to employ hundreds, if not, at least hundreds of people, if not thousands. That's tough. That's tough. This happened today at 12:41. Employees were told today that this was their last day of employment. I mean, I say about the government shutdown, if they're talented, they can go find another job, and that's fine. But when it comes to Party City and their employees, a lot of these employees, in retail, again, you can go find another job in retail. But it's like, man, to be told that today is your last day, and if you're off today, fuck you. That's awful. There should be a requirement that companies like this need to keep their doors open for at least 2 weeks. We have to give a 2-week notice. It's expected of us to give a 2-week notice. It looks bad if we don't. Why can't these companies give us a 2 week? Maybe they gave us like a few year one because they went into bankruptcy, right? But you still kept hiring people. So what the fuck? Like this is terrible. All these people losing their jobs on the 20th of December, right before Christmas, probably, tightening up their bootstraps to try and buy presents for their kids, their family members, and things like that, are now going to sit there and have to go, shit. All right, let me go on Indeed, let me go on Monster, let me go on LinkedIn, let me go on whatever it is. And I need to hustle and I need to find a job. And that's terrible. It's scary. It's a scary moment when you lose your job. And especially right around now. This is the type of stuff that, is really hard on people. And I hope and I pray that all of these people can bounce back and get a job and that they are able to successfully find one, because this is tough and I feel for these people. So hopefully, they can come back, and shame on Party City for just shutting it down right now, because that sucks. That sucks. And it sucks that Party City's gone, because Party City, like I said, it was a staple. It was around forever. I mean, there was one here right where I live. And we're seeing another major American store staple shutting down. This is Biden's economy. They can't afford it. They can't afford it. It's a combination of not being able to afford shit in the economy, and also the Amazon effect of you could just get whatever the fuck you need at Amazon for cheap. And it shows up and it's there and it's like, wow, it's convenient. It sucks because everything is Amazon now. And that's miserable because some, brands aren't on there and they jack up their fucking prices all the time. It's so bloated on Amazon. But what are you going to do? The box stores can't stay open. They can't compete. So this is sad to see. Another store that is gone, and it sucks. All right, last thing on politics. We're jumping in here. CNN has this article. I never understand why they need 9 people to write an article. Maybe one day someone could tell me. But U.S. concedes it has doubled the number of troops in Syria as Biden sends officials to Damascus. First things first. The fuck? What are we doing in Syria? In the article, I'll read it a little bit. It claims that they're there to fight ISIS and make sure they don't come back. I mean, cool, I guess. But get the fuck out of Syria. I think everyone would agree. Let's go here. Pentagon announced the U.S. currently has approximately 2,000 troops in Syria, more than double the previous disclosed number of 900. A Defense Department spokesperson said at a press briefing on Thursday. There are diplomatic and operational security considerations oftentimes with our deployments, and some of those numbers, and that certainly is the case here, said Pentagon Press Secretary Major General Patrick Ryder, who said that the 2,000 troops are all in Syria to fight ISIS. Now, are we at war? Are we at war in Syria? I haven't heard shit about ISIS. Obviously, we're still fighting, right? They boosted the troops. Obviously, there's still battles going on there. I remember Kamala Harris saying, "Oh, there isn't a single soldier out in harm's way right now." Fuck you. Nachi says to fight with Al Qaeda. I mean, it's crazy. It is crazy that we are still there. Let's continue with the article. As I understand it, and as it was explained to me, these additional forces are considered temporary rotational forces that deploy to meet shifting mission requirements, whereas the Core 900 deployers are on longer-term deployments, Ryder said Thursday. Oh, we have a major mission that we boosted up 1,100 more troops there. What are we possibly doing that 1,100 more troops were sent? A U.S. delegation is in Syria on Friday to engage with the interim Syrian government, a State Department spokesperson said. The first high-level American visit since the fall of President Bashar al-Assad. The delegation, comprised of Assistant Secretary of State and Near Eastern Affairs Barbara Leaf, Special Presidential Envoy for Hostage Affairs Roger Carstens, and NEA Senior Advisor Daniel Rubenstein, is in the capital of Damascus. CNN reported Thursday, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit about that part. Delegation intends to meet, blah, 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 blah. Principles outlined the last weekend in Jordanian City focus on issues like human rights. Don't care about that. Karsten has been in neighboring Lebanon and Jordan the past 2 weeks, leading the search for American journalist Austin Tice, who was detained in Syria over 12 years ago. And I saw something weird saying that Putin is going to grill Assad to find out where the journalist is. I don't believe that one bit. Nachi, another great Mideast shithole where the Pentagon aids Al Qaeda and CIA aids ISIS. Exactly, because you got to keep a fight. You got to keep a war going, right? You got to keep civil strife in the Middle East going. Otherwise, we have no reason to be there, Nate. Delegation is expected to discuss efforts to find Tice. Don't care about the blah, blah, blah. That the journalist, obviously, he's probably not alive, if we're being honest. I hope he is, but 12 years, probably unalived. The U.S. troops are focused on efforts to counter ISIS, one of the key issues confronting the international community in the wake of the Assad regime collapse. U.S. officials have reportedly stressed that the terrorist group must not be able to use a transition in Syria to rebuild. Oh my God, that is fucking rich coming from this administration, right? Because we cannot let ISIS get back into power, but let's fucking leave Afghanistan in the worst way possible and turn it over to the Taliban. Come on. Like this government knows anything about not letting terrorist organizations fill a vacuum of power. Get the fuck out of here. I don't want to hear from them. I really don't. And part of me is curious. Are they really just trying to start another war so that when Trump gets in there, he has something else to fucking worry about? It seems like that this administration just wants to cause headache after headache after headache in order to make it worse for Trump. Pushed by CNN on why the Pentagon had not previously disclosed the accurate number of U.S. forces in Syria, Ryder denied that there was any attempt to obfuscate the real number and that he only learned of the true number on Thursday before his briefing. Fuck you. Lies. Part of the explanation is a sensitivity from a diplomatic and operational security standpoint, Ryder added, refusing to further detail the diplomatic considerations, aka fuck off, I don't have to answer you. That's all that he said. Not going to get into diplomatic discussion, said Ryder, but there's just diplomatic considerations. Oh, that's something they use. They use national security, diplomatic consideration, blah, 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 blah. It's all just to circle jerk. Ryder said he learned that the original disclosed number was incorrect because he got word of it recently as our team was looking at this, and I asked for more information on this, recognizing that if the numbers were not what we briefed, let's find out what the actual numbers are and go from there. Again, this guy's full of shit. He's full of shit. He's been told to say this. The guy, he's been in the know this whole time. And they've had discussions in meeting going, okay, how are we going to spin this? How are we going to try and satisfy the media to give them an answer good enough that they shut the fuck up? We know these are lies. We know that. Asked if Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, asked if Defense Secretary, I can't say that fucking word. Asked if Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was aware of the number of U.S. troops in Syria. Ryder said he is confident that the Secretary is tracking U.S. forces deployed around the world, but that Austin has not spoken with the commander of the U.S. Central Command, General Michael Eric Kurelia, who oversees U.S. forces in the region about the issue. Like, what are we doing? The Secretary of Defense probably doesn't know what the fuck's going on. The guy's been absent. I get it. You delegate, right? You delegate. You trust people for certain things. But when there's a deployment of 1,100 troops in a place where there was only 900 for a mission after the government was just toppled, I think the defense secretary should be on top of that one. Ryder also said he wasn't tracking any adjustments to the number of U.S. troops in Syria. Again, lying, number one. Number two, you're a fucking idiot if that's the case. Assad just fell, and you're not going to look to see if we're trying to give more support there when we already have 900 standing? What an asshole. The U.S. has had forces in Syria to fight ISIS since 2014, working with the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, to combat the terrorist group. However, the rapid fall of Assad's regime has led to fears of a power vacuum that could re-empower ISIS, which has not held territory in Syria since 2019, which is okay. This is fear-mongering at its finest. If we don't get more American military in there, ISIS may come back, even though they have not had any major power since 2019. Right. And who was the president in 2019 that's taking claim to eradicate ISIS? Oh, I remember. It's Donald Trump. And he did. And this is fear-mongering. However, blah, blah, blah. Further complicating the conflict, though, the U.S. still categorizes the SDF as an important partner. Turkey has threatened to destroy the group, which is made up of fighters from a group known as the People's Protection Units, YPG, which is considered a terrorist organization by Turkey. We don't give a fuck what Turkey says, by the way. The U.S. has carried out dozens of airstrikes on ISIS targets in recent days, and the SDF has said they have had to halt anti-ISIS operations amid recent attacks by Turkish-backed militants. So that's a sticky situation there because Turkey is apparently our ally, quote unquote. And if the people that we're working with are getting attacked by Turkey and we happen to maybe kill a Turkish soldier or something or fight back, could start a major international incident. Oh my God. What a surprise. Maybe that's what the Bidens are trying to do in the fucking government. I mean, this is so ridiculous. We are fighting wars everywhere, guys. And I know this is talked about all the time, but we're fighting in Ukraine. There's boots there. We're absolutely in Israel. There's no fucking way our special forces aren't. And now openly we are fighting some boogeyman in Syria. Because we want to make sure that our puppet's installed. Okay, that's bottom line. We sent the delegation in there. We have boots on the ground. It's a threat. We want to get our puppet installed. You had your cute little revolution. Assad's gone. Now we need to install. That's all this is. This is more nation building. This is the shit we need to stop. And I hope when Trump comes in, he goes and says, Damascus, you're on your fucking own. We did our job. We got rid of ISIS. We helped train you. If you can't figure it out, get the fuck out of here. You want to be our ally? Sign on to Abraham Accords immediately. And then maybe we'll fucking talk. And you back Israel. I mean, I'm not the most strident, like Israel's always right guy, but that's the hard ball you have to play. The Abraham Accords are recognizing Israel's right to exist and them as a country. You got to play hardball. Syria, you want us to continue to help you? Do what we want. That's got to be it. That's got to be the only way that this goes. But it's absolutely insane. And CNN writes this article like it's nothing, right? And again, good reporting. I'll give CNN that. Who wrote this one? Again, it's a smorgasbord. Jesus Christ. Alex Mercart, Jennifer Hansler, Natasha Bertrand, Haley Britsky, and Michael Conti. Actual decent reporting here. Random acts of journalism. I love it. But all right, done with the politics. I want to get on to a little bit of a feel-good story here. It's a quick one. Jordan Renan has this tweet right here. Daniel Jones with a class move. He may not be the Giants quarterback anymore, but he sent all the offensive linemen who were on the roster with him a limited edition bottle of Class Azul. I don't know how to say it. I'm not a drinker. Jones was benched and released by the Giants last month. He's on the Vikings practice squad. That's fucking cool, man. Okay? I'm sorry. This is the type of goodwill that's going to earn Daniel Jones another shot in the NFL because he just gained a bunch of allies in professional football, probably for the rest of his career. Doing something like this, number one, makes it seem like he was a decent dude to begin with. And number two, it definitely endears yourself to the guys that you went to battle with for the last, what was he, the quarterback for the last 4 or 5 years? And it's a cool, classy move from a guy who obviously got paid, so he has the money to do it. And it's a small gesture, right? It's not like he went crazy and bought them all cars. He got him an expensive bottle of booze. And it's just to say, like, hey, I appreciate the effort that you guys gave around me to keep me protected and give me the opportunity to do as good as I could as a Giant. And it's a real cool move. And I think it's a smart move. And I think it's something that, again, it's going to endear yourself around the league because now it's going to say to any organization you go to, any lineman that plays for you, this guy gives a shit. He's not an egotistical asshole. He's not selfish. And I mean, he's going to appreciate the effort that we give. So let's give a little more effort. Let's see if we can help this guy become a success. And we've seen the turnarounds lately. We've seen Geno Smith. We've seen Sam Darnold, 2 former Jets. Why not another New York quarterback? I don't think Daniel Jones is any good. I didn't think Daniel Jones was any good when they drafted him. But this is the type of thing that he's going to go to some team. I don't think he has a shot with the Vikings. He has Darnold in front of him. He has J.J. McCarthy in front of him. But he can go to the Colts and battle. He can go to, another team that maybe needs a QB. Tennessee is going to need a QB. Will Levis ain't the guy out there. You can go to Tennessee. You could do something like that and maybe get another shot. And guys are going to talk. Maybe a former lineman from the Giants will end up on that roster. And they're going to sit there and say, you know what? Let's work for this kid. Let's try our best. Let's not just, let's work hard to not fuck up for him because he's obviously a decent dude. So good on Daniel Jones. That was just a little quick hit there. Happy for that Daniel Jones did that. And again, it's a smart move. I think it's going to endear him to a lot of people and a lot of different athletes in general, but especially linemen for the next team he goes and plays for. All right, I want to share this because it's a story we've been tracking. From Outkick over here, John Simmons, 7 San Jose State women's volleyball players transfer after season dominated by trans player controversy. Let's read this right here. 7 players from the San Jose State Spartans women's volleyball team are entering the transfer portal after the program experienced a highly tumultuous season. Yeah, I'd say that. This isn't a normal situation where players are leaving a program that can't win games. San Jose State was 1 win away from booking a trip to the NCAA tournament, losing in the Mountain West Conference Championship game, which should have never been played. San Jose State should be the national champions this year because no one should have played against them. They should have forfeited. But anyway, let's keep going. San Jose State experienced controversy because it allowed a transgender player, Blair Fleming, to play on its roster for the entire season despite receiving backlash, which was the absolutely wrong move by the school. On the heels of the tumultuous season, 7 players from the Spartans program have entered the transfer portal looking for new homes. Those players are Nayeli Tia, Marie Lawton, Ava Martin, Laurel Barsaccini, Kayana Fapula, sorry, I'm butchering your names, everybody. Jade Epps and Taya Nguyen. I never know how to say that name right. San Jose State issued a statement to Fox Digital saying that they were supportive of the players who chose to move on. Student athletes have the ability to make decisions about their college athletic careers, and we have the utmost respect for that, the statement read, which, again, jerk off all of you. I fucking hate these people. But because they knowingly put women in harm's way. It's not entirely clear if the players are leaving due to the dysfunction in the program experienced in the 2024 season. To this point, no one has gone on record explaining their decision to leave. But I mean, guys, where there's smoke, there's fire, right? 7 girls are leaving, and a volleyball team is not massive, right? It's not like they're like the giant football rosters that are like 100 people. Volleyball rosters aren't massive. 7's a huge number. And I guarantee at San Jose State, they were all at scholarship, if not most of them. That's a huge loss to them. As stated above, Fleming's presence on the team rightfully caused many outside of San Jose State University to cry foul about the whole situation, as well as people from within. At one point in the season, Captain Brooks Slusser spoke with Outkick about many of the issues within the team, which included San Jose State University suspending assistant coach Melinda Batiste-Moose for the sole reason of speaking out against Fleming being on the team, and I hope Melissa sues the fuck out of them for a wrongful, I guess, what would you call it? A wrongful disciplinary action. Definitely should sue the fuck out of them. Slusser is out of eligibility and will not be playing again next year. Despite all the noise, San Jose State somehow found a way to get to the doorstep of the NCAA tournament. Fleming no longer has any college eligibility, and with the 7 transfers, just 6 players remain on the team with eligibility. San Jose State's decision to champion a man on a women's volleyball roster seems to have cost them dearly, and good. I hope San Jose State sucks for the next few years. But you know what, though? Honestly, I'm going to say this, and maybe people might not agree with me. If I'm San Jose State, I'm just going and fucking getting like 6 more trans dudes. Laughing makes me cough. Sorry, everyone. But it's like, I'm just going to go and recruit like 6 other trans guys now to fill the hole and just say, fuck it. We did it this year with 1. Let's just roll. Maybe we'll roll to the championship. But no, overall, it's kind of you're getting what you deserve. I know the phrase go woke, go broke is there, but this is kind of like the sports version of, don't protect women and maybe they fucking transfer at the end of the season and your program goes to shambles. Shame on their head coach. Shame on their athletic department. Shame on their board, their president. Shame on everyone involved with this at San Jose State University. I hope you have to cancel your program. I hope you have no interest. If I am a young lady looking to advance my career and San Jose State's one of the ones recruiting me, I'm saying thanks, but no thanks. I don't know if you have my best interest in mind. I don't know if you're going to keep me safe. And I'm those parents. I'm saying get the fuck away from my daughter. You do not have the best interest of women in mind, and we are not sending our daughter to your school. And that's the way it should be. And I hope everyone joins in on that and says no. And I hope anybody that has a program that has a trans individual on it, they automatically take that stance. You start pulling your girls and you transfer now. Transfer now. Enter that portal and refuse to play, because women need to continue to fight for women's spaces, obviously, here. All right. That was a good one that we tracked. Now I'm going to get into my nerdiness over here and my track and fieldness, because to me, this is important. I think we need to start talking about track a little more. Coming from Flow Track on Instagram, the Bowerman Award was just given out. Now, what the Bowerman Award is it is an award to the best male and the best female in collegiate track and field, given every single year. And this year, the two winners are incredibly deserving. And I was on my other show on Monday talking in ovals with the great Phil Grove, and we went over the finalists and things like that. And these are the exact people who both of us predicted would win. So the Bowerman for the men was Leo Neugebauer, won the 2024 Bowerman. He's a German national, and he's a fucking monster in the heptathlon and decathlon. He's the NCAA champion for the indoor hep. Now, for people that don't know, it's 6 events. The heptathlon, you're doing 6 events, and then the NCAA outdoor decathlon. His indoor heptathlon score is 6,347 points, moved him up to number 4 in the collegiate all-time list. He then set the collegiate record in decathlon with his total of 8,961 points. So let me just give you an explanation here real quick when it comes to the multi-events. There is a certain standard of, and I believe it was the world record. I don't know if it's not the current world record. It might be, but it's a record that was set. And you gain points up to that. 100 points is perfect. You got to the world record, okay? Basically. So the best you could do in the HEP is is the HEP 7? No, the HEP is 7. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm an asshole. A heptathlon. Hold on. I'm a bad track person. I think it might be 7 contested things. Feel made up. Yeah, 7 events. I'm an asshole. HEP. Buh. So you can get 100 points is the most you can get in each event. And he got 6,347 points. That's unheard of. Okay. And breaking 9,000 is the huge thing for pros. If you get to 9,000, you are one of the tops in the world. And to be able to do it in college where he got to 8,961 points, setting the collegiate record, is incredible. He absolutely deserves it. He set the decathlon discus world record of 57.70 meters, which is 189 feet 4 inches. So awesome for him. I'm happy that Leo won over there. And then going over to the ladies, the winner of the Bowerman is Parker Valby. And Parker Valby should have been the runaway winner. She was incredible over at Florida. She won 4 NCAA titles. 4, everybody. That is incredibly hard. She won the indoor 3,000 meter and indoor 5,000 meter, the outdoor 5,000 meter, and the outdoor 10,000 meter. She also set the collegiate record in the 5K at 14 minutes, 52 seconds, and 18. Just for reference, that is a female running 3.1 miles in 14 minutes, 52 seconds. Okay. That is sub 5 minutes a mile for female. That's incredibly fast, everybody. Shit. Why did it stop sharing? No. Bad, Alex. Bad. Let me go back to sharing that. Back to Parker. Parker is a lot nicer to look at than I am. Anyway, so she did that. And then the collegiate record in the 10K, which is 6.2 miles at 30 minutes, 50 seconds, and 43. Now, her indoor record for the 5K was just broken in the first meet, which is insane. It was a short-lived record. Awesome that it was broken. But Parker Valby absolutely deserved this award. And just so everybody knows, she also was an Olympian, okay? She made the Olympic team for the women. So she continued on after running race after race after race in college and went and competed in the Olympics. And again, was a monster at the Olympics. Did not place, but she has such a bright future. Leo over at the men has a bright future. So Nate G, at least they got that right, unlike the Heisman and the Bednarik. Nate, all I'll say about that is if Ashton Genty was going to lose, losing to Travis Hunter wasn't the worst guy. Travis Hunter was deserving, okay? If Ashton Genty doesn't exist, Travis Hunter is runaway, right? Even the Arizona State running back was not going to challenge um, Travis Hunter. What Travis Hunter did on both sides of the ball, I've only seen one other guy do anything similar to that, and that was Charles Woodson. And now, what is that, 25 years ago? So, Genty losing to Hunter, either one could have won, okay? I'm not mad that either one won. I think we hate Colorado more because of the press and less because of what they do on the field. I don't mind Colorado. I don't mind Coach Sanders. I don't mind Shador Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, Travis Hunter. I like all those guys. Horn over there. They're all good. They're talented. Their defense got a lot better. Their offensive line got a lot better. They played much better football this year. Deion Sanders proved he can recruit and do the right thing and build a team, and he did a great job. But I thought Genty deserved it as well. I'm not mad at Travis. I'm not one of those people that's like Travis Hunter robbed him. Like Travis Hunter is deserving, okay? The guy's a fucking monster. He is a bona fide number one receiver and a shutdown corner, okay? Let's not pretend like the kid isn't a freak of nature as an athlete. So I was okay with Hunter beating Genty. I assumed he was going to do it. Colorado is the hot commodity. Boise State isn't, isn't as big. If he was on Ohio State, he would have won possibly. You know what I mean? There is the prestige of the school that goes into this. So while I agree that the Heisman did belong to Genty, and I thought he was the better, more deserving candidate, losing to Travis Hunter isn't too bad. But back to the Bowerman again. Happy for Parker Valby. Happy for Leo Nugenbauer. And maybe I'll talk a track a little more on here because track deserves it, motherfuckers. And if you're bored about it, fight me. Don't fight me. That would be mean. You beat my ass. All right. Last sports topic we're going to jump into is Dan Graziano decided to go off about Aaron Rodgers. And let's hear what he has to say. This is from Awful Announcing. Dan Graziano stuns unsportsmanlike with his rant about Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to read the quote. I'm going to let you guys hear it for yourself. So let's listen in on what he has to say.
Back to this story is that the organization decides that, well, it could be worse. Like Aaron Rodgers isn't so bad because look at all this other goofiness that's going on above him. Mm-hmm. And the Jets are in bigger trouble than I thought because Aaron Rodgers is a con artist. He is a narcissist. He is self-absorbed to the absolute maximum. And if he has you fooled again, that's on you. If the Jets go back to Aaron Rodgers next year, they deserve what they get, and it will not be good. Like, they know this. They've lived it for the last 2 years. Like, this is not the answer. If some team wants to do that, too bad for them. But if the team that it just happened to wants it to happen to them again, then then there's no fixing that. That's just dumb.
Wow.
What?
Well, no, that was awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome, Roz. And it's
So I'll say this. I'll address you real quick, Nate, about the Heisman thing. But what's interesting to me about all these takes about Aaron Rodgers, and I get it, he's not having a great year. He's had actually 2 really good games. And if you look at his numbers the past 7 games, he's been a pretty good quarterback. But let's not talk about that real quick. Guys like Dan Graziano, Diana Rossini, all these people that are getting on Aaron Rodgers and kind of have been over the last 2 years, maybe less actually after last year, right? Because even in the first year with the Jets, everyone was pumped for him, felt sympathetic when he hurt himself, blah, 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 blah. This all started, all these criticisms started when Aaron Rodgers started to talk about his politics. Aaron Rodgers started to support RFK a little more, came out as an RFK supporter, more of a free speech guy. I don't always agree with him, but this is when the criticism really started. Guys like Dan Graziano, he's not talking about this from a football standpoint, really. He doesn't like Aaron Rodgers because he hurt his politics. Okay? Because if Dan Graziano was being honest with himself, you look at the numbers the last 7 games. The Jets are 2-5. They were within 1 score of all of those games. Again, Rodgers had the ball in his hands at the end. He didn't produce. But if you actually look at the numbers, Rodgers and the Jets have not been playing terrible football. They're a team that doesn't know how to win games, doesn't know how to close games out. That is a bad thing. That's what you brought Rodgers in to do, right? Win those games. But at the same time, there's a lot of dishonesty when it comes to talking about Aaron Rodgers right now. The Jets disclosed that he was dealing with an injury. I don't know if that's true. To me, that sometimes seems like bullshit to get out of having a bad season, right? But there's a lot of dishonesty in the sports media when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, and it has very little to do with his play on the field. It has everything to do with they stopped liking the guy because they heard his politics and because he's been going on Pat McAfee's show and telling them all to fuck off and telling them all they're full of shit. And I cannot wait to see when he goes on Pat McAfee what he has to say to Dan Graziano. Because you know something? If Dan Graziano doesn't put Aaron Rodgers' name in his mouth, nobody knows what the fuck Dan Graziano's saying on Unsportsmanlike, which is a show that most people don't watch. I'm sorry. I like Bart Scott. I like some of the people on there. People don't fucking watch Unsportsmanlike. Most people don't watch ESPN anymore. What is this, NFL Network? No one watches fucking NFL Network. Maybe they turn it on over ESPN if they want to see some football stuff. But still, these type of shows, these networks are basically dying, okay? The 24/7 sports talk, nobody cares. Honestly, nobody cares. And I think this is ESPN. ESPN2 on sports. I'm like, who watches the show? So it's like, Dan Graziano, you have your take. You didn't do this because of football, Dan. Because if you were being honest with yourself, if you were watching the games, which were frustrating, don't get me wrong, but if you're looking at the numbers, it's bullshit. Okay. All right. So let's Nate, you had to say here. He's not a shutdown style corner. This is about Travis Hunter again. He got toasted and was dodging tackles. I get the Heisman take. Thought Genty was the guy, but Hunter was not the best defensive player in the country. No, he wasn't the best defensive player in the country. I agree. Was he a shutdown corner? I mean, in college, he wasn't. Again, he missed tackles. He dodged some okay. Everyone gets toasted at times. There's a lot of talent. And was he the best player in the country? No, but here's the thing. And I do give him this. He didn't take downs off. Maybe he took some off. Don't get me wrong. But to play both ways, the stamina this kid had was incredible. And you got to give credit to that. Okay? Nate G coming back. Jahdae Barron at Texas is better at cornerback than Hunter is, and he plays nickel corner and safety for the best defensive team in football. Yes, but he plays one way, Nate. That has to come into consideration. That I believe Travis Hunter had like 93 catches. What do you have here? How many catches did Travis Hunter have? He had an incredible amount of catches, and he was an effective corner. And you know what the thing is, too, Nate? We got to take into account that Colorado defense was much improved. And part of that has to do with Travis Hunter. Yeah, Travis Hunter had 92 catches, 1,152 yards, 14 touchdowns, averaged 12.5 per catch. And then let's look at defensive back. And I want to see what is Travis Hunter's defensive back. Do they not have him in here as a defensive back? Where's his defensive stats? Because I got to have his defensive stats here as well. Because he did have it. Here's the thing. Was it the greatest season of all time? No, but to have that many catches, that many yards, and then turn around and still be a starting corner. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to share this one, but whatever. We're going to look together at Travis Hunter. I meant in regards to him winning the Bet and Eric. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I agree with that. Maybe he didn't deserve the Bet and Eric, and maybe he doesn't deserve to be first team. What was he? First team or second team corner? I don't know. Was he first team corner, second team receiver? But here, I'm looking at his stats right here, man. Those offensive stats, you can't deny, okay? Like, it's hard to deny those. Here we go with defensive stats. 2024, he had 31 tackles from the corner position, 20 solo, 11 assists, 11, no sacks, a forced fumble, 4 picks, 65 yards, no touchdown. Like, he didn't have a terrible year. Like, you can't say he had a terrible year. He was a good corner. I guess it's arguable whether or not he shut down, but man, it's tough to deny that he had a great year and that he's not worthy of the Heisman. He's going to be lights out wide receiver in the NFL. Would love him in Dallas. Just thought it was insane for him to win the Bet and Eric. And again, he won a lot from his name. That's obviously true. And sometimes they fall in love with that. But I agree. The Bet and Eric was a stretch. But the Heisman, I think you can argue that he does deserve the Heisman. All right. Let's jump to this. We got some nerdy stuff coming in. and it's a little disappointing. So we're going to share this tab. It's from the Fandom Pulse from our buddy John Trent. And what's disappointing about it is just after I was pretty hyped yesterday for the Superman trailer, which I'm pumped. Only got me a copyright strike, but I don't believe they nuked the show yesterday, which thanks, Warner Brothers. Thanks for not nuking the show. Let me look. I'm actually curious if they completely and totally nuked the show or not. You know, it got a copyright strike, but they didn't destroy it. So yeah, thank you. Thanks, Warner Brothers, for not being dickheads. You know, boom, just got a copyright strike, but it's owner allows the content to be used on YouTube. So thanks, guys. Smart move, because everyone was posting it and it gives you good pub. Anyway, so let's read this article, and it's disappointing. Ready? James Gunn says battered Superman is a metaphor for the United States of America and says film shares many elements with Game of Thrones and it's not a fascistic power fantasy. James Gunn, shut the fuck up. Why do they have to do this? This is Cynthia Erivo. This is Rachel Ziegler. James Gunn, just shut the fuck up. Your trailer was decent. It had me interested. Now I don't know if I want to give you any fucking money. I was willing to watch more trailers and go see your movie. Willing to. Now part of me hopes it crashes and burns and that the whole entire fucking Gunverse, DC Gunnerverse, whatever you want to call it, goes to shit. Because you're a fucking idiot. Let's read the article because John's awesome at what he does. Superman director James Gunn likely significantly injured the box office haul for Warner Brothers by comparing the battered Superman that appears at the beginning of the newly released trailer to the United States of America. Speaking about the trailer at a Q&A with the press after they were given a preview of the trailer, Gunn stated, "We do have a battered Superman at the beginning. That is our country." He elaborated, "I believe in the goodness of human beings, and I believe that most people in the country, despite their ideological beliefs, their politics, are doing their best to get by and are good people." Again, why does this have to do anything with the movie you're making? Despite what... that swallowed down the wrong pipe there. No homo. Despite what it may seem like to the other side, us, no matter what the other side might be, this movie is about that. It's about the basic kindness of human beings, which it shouldn't be. It should be about a really fucking superpowered guy that flies around and does cool shit and saves people. And that it could be seen as uncool and under siege by some of the darker voices are some of the louder voices. Like, ugh, shut the fuck up. It would be remiss not to point out that James Gunn was vehemently anti-Trump during Trump's first term. One point, let's read this. Gunn wrote in a tweet, "I will give $100,000 to Trump's favorite charity if he will step on an accurate scale with an impartial medical professional. Okay, by both of us for real. Girther movement." Like, and then he clarified this has nothing to do with fat shaming because, of course, the lefty liberal needs to talk about it. It has to do with a continuous pattern of fabricating facts by both Trump and his administration. Like, Jesus Christ. He wrote, "That's the point of my tweet." He declared, "The biggest issue is we are facing a dictator wannabe who is trying to destroy the press. When facts don't matter, we can't even begin to have real conversations and debates about policy with a figure like that leading our country." I mean, again, and he went on and on and on and on. Much rather an elephant being leading in democracy into ruin because it would be at least Dorbs while he does it. Like, in my years in social networking, I have never spoken about politically, but we're in a national crisis with an incompetent president forging a full-blown attack on facts and journalism in the style of Hitler and Putin. I'm okay with losing fans and my choice to speak out. Where the fuck were you the last 4 years, James? You loser. Last 4 years, we've been going under shit. Like, I mean, again, transcript of Trump, blah, blah, blah. He just went on and on and on. Nevertheless, Gunn trumpeted the Superman movie. I'm excited for people to get to see the essence of what we're doing because it really has been like this private secret that we've been hoarding. We felt really good about it, like from a moral place. Doesn't matter. Even from the beginning, we all felt like we were doing something good, both in terms of quality and in terms of actually something that's not a fascistic power fantasy. Like, what does that even mean? A fascistic power fantasy? Like, James, fascists are on the left, you fucking idiot. Like, we need to get more people to realize Fascist is the right of the left. They are leftists. We need to break this whole entire theory that fascists are on the right because they don't understand what the right and the left is. Let's make this as simple as we can, okay? Leftists are collectivists that lead to totalitarian power through the state, and it becomes a authoritarian regime that way. That is what the left is. Collectivism leading to totalitarianism, okay? The state consumes everything. On the right, the extreme of the right is when the individualism mixed with religion ends up, the extreme there is when you get to the divine right, and it is like a kingly type of totalitarianism, a kingly type of authoritarian rule, not even totalitarian, authoritarian. That is when you get closer to divine right to rule. That is the far right. That is why James Lindsay warns against the Christian nationals and the woke right, because they're the motherfuckers that are talking about that, okay? Let's be clear about what the radical right and left is and what the right and left is. Collectivism, individualism, when you get to the radicals, they both lead to authoritarianism. One is totalitarian, one is divine right to rule dictatorship, okay? That is where we are when you get to the extremes. People need to understand this, and too many people are fucking stupid and don't. Let's keep going. He then qualified. I'm not saying that about other superhero movies in general, but it felt good to be doing something that was about a person's kindness. Like, it sucks because I was starting to kind of like the trailer. The trailer was decent. It made me intrigued. I saw all the different people in there. It was pretty cool. And then James Gunn had to open his fucking mouth. Gunn also claimed the film shares many elements with Game of Thrones as it does with the Marvel Universe. It's like, oh. John Trent doing good work as always there over at Fandom Pulse. But this is the type of shit that drives me crazy. It's unnecessary. Just shut the fuck up. Why do these people feel the need to try and cut the knees off of 50% of their potential market? It's the same thing that people, idiots on the right do, and they're like, we are patriot or we are flag wearing brand. Like, appeal to everyone. Superman is not there to save liberal leftists. Superman is there to save the world and everybody. True justice in the American fucking way. That is what he is. He saves everyone regardless. He does not care. Nietzsche, I'm out on soups. This dude is incapable of understanding what Superman is. I mean, yes. It sucks, man. It sucks. I was ready and willing to go see this in theaters. Now I'm probably not. All because, and I'm probably not going to see anything James Gunn has to do with right now. Because if his whole goal is to push an agenda, right? Because this is what we've been fighting back against. Get the agenda the fuck out. And it sucks too, because the Guardians were fine. He didn't say his dumb shit with them. Second Suicide Squad was fine. He improved vastly on the first one. And then to come out, and this is supposed to be your basis of your whole entire universe that you're building. And everyone universally thought, you had some detractors, some people saying this looks like it was shot for the CW. Okay, some of the shots didn't look amazing. But generally, like I said yesterday, kudos to DC because everything they did leading up to this got everybody talking about Superman and generally for the right reason. You had the moving poster with the great John Williams throwback music, kind of. Then you had the 30-second teaser, which again, kind of showed you a little bit. And then you had the 2+ minute trailer, which had some criticisms, but overall was generally liked by everybody. And now this. You had goodwill up until now. And you know what comes next, everyone? James Gunn going, I don't care. If you don't like what I had to say, then don't watch it. And we won't, motherfucker. We won't. We won't. And you don't realize that a large majority of your fan base wants none of this involved in their shit. You'll get some of your leftist fanboys or some of your dedicated fanboys to go watch it, but you just cost yourselves billions. You cost yourself millions of dollars. Maybe not billions, millions of dollars now. Because this movie was going to be $1 billion movie. I absolutely was thinking, if this was keeping up in the way it was going and they were going to continue to show a trailer and it was going to show more and we were going to get a better look, I think it was going to get a shot, and I'm telling you, this probably was going to make $1 billion. Let's see if it makes money now. And more people are going to come out, and I'm curious what the actors think. Because if James Gunn is there and this is what he wanted to do and this is the message he wanted to get across, I'm not surprised if the actors were on board. And they're not going to keep their mouths fucking shut. If they're true leftists, if they're true believers, they're going to have to talk about it. So this is disheartening. Disheartening because the Soups actually was a decent looking trailer. And now they had to go and fuck it all up. James Gunn, you're an asshole. But all right, we're going to end up on a white pill because that Park Place, M. Montanaro, Bluey goes full Disney, movie in the works, plus theme park and cruise line adventures. I don't know about you guys, but I like me some Bluey. And we're getting a Bluey movie. And that makes me fucking happy. Now, does it concern me that Disney's as heavily involved? Not really, because Disney Plus, Disney has been the vehicle with the BBC to bring Bluey to us. So my kids fucking love Bluey. I think Bluey's hilarious. You could watch Bluey with your kids because you get just as many things with parents and the jokes and stuff like that. And it's not crude jokes, but it's like if you're a parent, you understand some of the shit that they do and some of the conversations they're having and things like that. And it is just a wholesome show. And it shows love from the mother and the father to their two daughters, Bluey and Bingo. And they treat the parents equally. One isn't better than the other. It's not the bumbling dad's a fucking moron and with no respect. No, dad's a goofball. He plays with his girls, but he's also, they look up to him. They ask him questions. They think he's smart. They respect him as much as they respect the mother, who is also equal. It seems like they're in a very good, loving relationship, as much as cartoon healer dogs can be, right? But it is a good example of a family unit and with a little bit of goofiness thrown in because it's a kid show and it's a cartoon. I'm fucking pumped for the movie, and I cannot wait to take my kids to it. Let's read this. In a landmark move that expands the beloved Blue Healers world, Disney and BBC Studios have announced a comprehensive agreement to bring the internationally acclaimed animated series Bluey to the big screen, as well as to Disney's theme parks and cruise ships, which I think is massive. Because bringing Bluey over to Disney, the parks have been trying to do everything they can in order to now compete with Universal, because Universal has the 5 parks opening up, if they're not already open, but they will be opening up soon. And having Bluey walking around Disney, being on cruise ships, massive move. Because people love Bluey, and it's not just the kids that enjoy Bluey. The parents enjoy Bluey. You have to see, on Facebook with a lot of the parents and stuff from our area and even parents we know talk about Bluey. There was this past year, they did an extended, basically like, I guess what you're like TV-ish movies, an extended episode called The Sign. And it was awesome. It was a tearjerker, damn it. Great move, great episode, an extended episode. And you'll see them kind of talk about it here. The deal not only sets the stage for a highly anticipated feature film debut, but also paves the way for Bluey and her family to interact with fans around the globe directly. Under the terms of the new partnership, a Bluey feature film produced by Walt Disney Company and BBC Studios will arrive in theaters in 2027. So we're going to have to wait 3 years for it, but that's okay. Series creator Joe Brum, who will write and direct, said the movie will continue the adventures of Bluey, a lovable, inexhaustible blue heeler dog who lives with their mom, dad, and little sister Bingo. The production will draw on the same qualities that have endeared the show to countless viewers since it first aired. I really enjoyed the experience of working with a longer format on The Sign, which I mentioned, in Series 3. So going even further in the feature film feels like a natural extension of that, Brum said. Now, if Brum does as good a job with the movie as he did with The Sign, like I said, The Sign was a tearjerker, man. It really was. It was a great episode. Everyone got a little sad, and then it ended up with a good happy ending. It was great. It was great. I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. No. If you have a young kid, like if you have like a teenager, they're not going to fucking watch Bluey, okay? But if you have younger kids, Bluey, I recommend it because it is, in a world where you're trying to figure out what is safe and what isn't, it is a safe show. It shows a little bit of everything. It doesn't show transgenderism and gay shit like that, but there's like a hippie in it and things like that. And it shows kind of different ways of parenting. Like, it's not a bad show at all. Let's keep going. It's no shock that Bluey is the top of Disney's priority list. The Australian kids show is routinely Disney's top streaming show on Disney+. However, the company never touts this milestone as Bluey isn't owned by the House of Mouse. It'll be interesting to see if Disney will be more open to embrace the widely popular show now that it has more of a stake in its future. I hope they don't get more involved. I hope they just kind of promote it more, but don't get more involved, Disney. Please don't. The film, set to be fully CG animated and produced in collaboration with Ludo Studio, is expected to retain the show's original vocal talent, including Melanie Zanetti and David McCormick as Chilean Bandit Healer. Music by the show's composer, Geoff Bush, will also help bring Bluey's world to life in new yet authentic ways. Now, the CG animated is interesting because, Bluey is a 2D show. So curious how the CG animation is going to go. If they take their time and they do it right, it can look fine. Because when things are done right with CG and, that kind of way, it looks good. A la, I'm a Dragon Ball Z fan and Dragon Ball Super and everything. Their recent CGs with the Brawling movie with Dragon Ball Super Superhero, absolutely gorgeous. They did a great job with the CG animation. So I'm not saying Bluey's going to have all that because they're not having Dragon Ball Z powers, right? But if taken the right time, and they have 3 years to get this right, the CG and making it a fully-ish CG moving thing can look fine. It'll look different, but it can look good. But movies often get that upgraded animation. I remember my first time seeing the Rugrats movie compared to the Rugrats. The Rugrats movie was like, whoa, okay, different. This is a movie. Looks pretty cool. All right, let's continue here. Following its theatrical release under the Disney banner, the movie will later stream on Disney Plus and air on ABC, IVU, and ABC Kids in Australia. Disney's entertainment co-chairman Dana Walden and Alec Bergman praised the show's universal appeal, stating, "Since its debut on Disney Junior and Disney Plus, Bluey has become a global phenomenon, uniting families everywhere with its heartfelt stories of play, imagination, and connection. We are so proud to expand our relationship with the BBC studios and bring the magic of Bluey to the big screen for real life. We are deeply grateful to Joe Brum for creating a world that continues to inspire and delight families everywhere. Beyond the cinematic realm, Disney and BBC Studios are broadening Bluey's footprint. Company, theme parks, and cruise line. They talk about how they're going to bring a Disney Cruise Line from Australia and New Zealand. Bluey will be there, fully immersive experience. Selling a feature meet and greets with Bluey and Bingo, along with interactive activities, culminating with the dance party, which kids love with that. Lovely day to go boat riding, blah, blah, blah. Disney's domestic theme parks aren't being left out. Bluey and her family will make official appearances at the Disneyland Resorts and Walt Disney World beginning in 2025, so next year. With the studio's producers currently developing a number of special activations. Details on how or where the guests can encounter the healers within the parks will be revealed in coming months. Bluey's been a household name, blah, blah, blah. Chairman, we can't wait to watch your youngest guests meet, make memories of Bluey, which our kids are going to freaking love. When we go there again, they're going to want pictures of Bluey. Currently no word on whether D'Amato plans to bulldoze any Disney classic stables to make way for the Healer family, but we wouldn't put it past him. And again, here's the thing. When talking about something like Bluey, I wouldn't be surprised, and it may not be the worst move. Taking away Muppets from Monsters, Inc. is a weird one because Monsters, Inc. isn't super relevant right now. There's kids that still watch it, right? My generation is going to show Monsters, Inc. Not as relevant. But if you are going to make like a Bluey world, like when I was just there, they had the whole Toy Story world. It was fucking cool. They did a great job with it. If you're going to kind of make like a Bluey little fucking adventure and you're going to recreate kind of the town and things like that, there's cool things they could do with that and kids would love that. It might be a good move for Disney to consider maybe getting rid of some older interactions to bring a Bluey interaction. I'm just, as much as it would suck to see some of the older ones go, might be a good smart idea. Anyway, Healer Family's debut at Disney theme parks and cruises really the icing on the cake for what has been an exceptional year for Bluey. We're committed to creating the very best in class experiences, blah, blah, blah. And that's the end. Yep. Basically the end of the article here. That's a blue pill for me, man. Like I said, I'm a fan of Bluey. I think it is a fantastic kid show. I really think that if you have kids, it is a smart thing to do to let them watch Bluey. I am protective over what my kids watch. So I'm, not somebody who is like, hey, definitely go let them do this. But in terms of my opinion on Bluey, I think it's a good one. So definitely go and do that. And before we jump out of here, I want to show some love to one of our friends here. He's come on the show. He's been, around us. He's done a thing. Let's see. Where is our boy, LA Meek, got a write up over in Voyage LA. Rising Stars LA Meek. Here, hold on. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Voyage LA, Rising Stars. Because where is this thing? Do. Again, wasting time with, quiet. I'm sorry about that, guys, that we're wasting our time here. Voyage LA, where are you at here? Most inspiring stories. A really good podcast host would have had this ready, but I just remembered that Meek posted something about it. So I want to be able to show him some love. But I suck. And I am not always prepared here. Let's see if we could search LA Meek. Is their search function terrible? Meek? No. All right. I wish I could have found it. I wish I was better prepared. But I am not. I am not prepared. I suck. Meek, we're going to give you a shout out next time because I'm going to find this article. So tomorrow, maybe, we will give you a shout out. But on that note, that'll do it for the show tonight, everybody. I really appreciate everyone that watched today. Nate G, always for participating. Going almost 2 hours, back on here 2 nights in a row. Oh, quickly, in the first of the college football playoff, 12-man playoff, Notre Dame, number 7, knocks off Indiana, number 10, 27-17. They'll face Georgia in the quarterfinals. I always call Notre Dame pretenders. I still think they are, even though they just beat Indiana. But still, they're fucking pretenders. But we'll see. They had to play Georgia next. Interested to see how that game goes. But okay, getting out of here. Wherever you watched, I appreciate it. Whether it was X, Facebook, YouTube. I don't know if TikTok got itself going, but also Kick. Sorry about Kick. It doesn't update the titles. So this still says Kasparian. I got to go on there and manually update all the titles because Restream's fucking stupid and you can't get that together. Come on, Restream. Get the title stuff together with Kick. It's not hard. You guys are smart. But I appreciate it all. Go do your due diligence wherever you're watching from. If you're listening on a podcast, please go give us a good ratings. And we appreciate it. Try and be back tomorrow. Try not to suck still. And thanks everyone for listening. Thanks everyone for watching.